Hello everyone, thank you so much for clicking on today's video and welcome to my channel. I just wanted to give a big shout out and thank you to all those people who subscribed in my last video. As I mentioned last time, I'm trying to reach my goal of 1000 subscribers and it's a big journey. I'm only about 50% of the way there. So I just wanted to ask one more time, if you do enjoy my content and you're looking for more content from me and to possibly support me, I'd love it if you could subscribe to my channel. Anyways, today's story involves such a ridiculous situation. OP's husband is the groomsman to his best friend's wedding, and OP's husband's ex is one of the bridesmaids, and OP is not invited to the wedding at all. She reaches out to Reddit asking for advice on how to handle the situation, and then things take a much darker turn. I do hope that you enjoyed this story. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Anyways, on to the story. Spouse is a groomsman, his ex is a bridesmaid, but I'm not invited. Hey all, I need some advice on how I should proceed. My husband is a groomsman in his childhood friend's wedding. The bride is best friends with my husband's ex. He dumped her months before even meeting me. And the bride has obviously asked said ex to be a bridesmaid. I've only met the bride and groom a couple of times in passing, and I've never met the ex. But thanks to mutual friends, I do know that the ex was regularly creeping me up online until quite recently. So with all that being said, yesterday we received the formal invitation, and it's addressed only to my husband. I'm not mentioned anywhere, and there's nothing about a +1. My husband, bless his heart, assumed that was an oversight and texted the groom to see if I was actually invited, and the groom responded along the lines of, "Oh, I guess it would be really awkward for X, but if she really wants to come, I guess she can." I personally have no interest going to the time and expense of attending a wedding where I'm clearly not welcome, and my husband has said that he will just back out of the wedding. But it's only about 3 months away, and as offended as I am, I'm not sure that this justifies my husband potentially ending an almost 2-decade-long friendship with the groom. I'm genuinely not sure on how to proceed. Please help y'all. So that's not only rude because you are his wife, but also because as a groomsman, really, he should get to invite someone regardless of relationship. I don't blame you for not wanting to go, but I would have a conversation with your husband about the options. Do you want to just not go and let him go? Do you want him to have a more frank conversation with the groom about how it's quite disrespectful of your relationship to cut you out and make you feel unwelcome? I get that there are complex relationship issues here, but it's a pretty horrible move of the groom to not invite his groomsman's wife. Or was this a steamroll decision by the bride? Sorry you're dealing with this, but it sounds like you're approaching it as level-headedly as possible, which is all you can do. To which OP replied, "I'm assuming that it's a bride steamroll. I've only met her a couple of times, but she seemed like the loud, bossy type, whereas the groom is very quiet and timid. And I'm trying to be level-headed about it, but I feel myself losing my cool the more that I think about it. I would understand them doing this if I was some local home-wrecking hussy, but I'm not. My husband broke up with the ex, then moved to a new state, my state, and that's when and where we met. There was no overlap or shady behavior. I understand that breakups suck. I think it's good that the bride was in her friend's court, but it's been over 6 years since the breakup. It's time to move the F on. With all that being said, I think that my husband is going to call the groom later in the week, once this isn't so fresh, and see if they can talk it out." Someone else commented, "I agree with the commenter above. You're his wife and he's a groomsman. Husbands and wives should be invited together. It's rather silly for them not to be, as you two will likely be together for the rest of your lives. I will say though, you are taking this well and going about this very level-headed. I think I'd be a little more heated should my husband be asked to join a wedding party with his ex, and then I'm also not included whatsoever. Strange circumstances that sound like they involve rather petty people." To which OP replied, "I think I'm only holding it together because I don't know the bride and groom very well. I would be much more upset if they were a couple I knew and cared about. I'm highly offended and very unimpressed by this couple and the way they conduct themselves. But more than anything, I'm upset at them for doing this to my husband. My husband has been an extremely loyal friend to the groom for going on 20 years, so I think this is really hurting my husband. And if you hurt my husband, I'm coming for you. Hey all, a bunch of people asked me to follow up once my husband had spoken with the groom, so I'm just creating a new post rather than trying to respond to everyone individually. My husband called the groom last night, and the conversation went as well as it could have under the circumstances. My husband explained to the groom that we are a team, a social unit, and used what a lot of you guys said about the bride and groom asking them to celebrate their relationship as they disrespected ours. The groom said that he never intended to hurt or offend us and hadn't thought through the situation well enough and realized how stupid and ignorant it was, apologized profusely and said of course I was invited and they would love to have me. Their original reasoning, as told to my husband, then repeated to me, is that the ex always thought that my husband would move home and get back together with her. So even though they were broken up well before the two of us met, she didn't fully believe their breakup was permanent until we got engaged. And she kind of feels like he chose me over her and never got closure. And she didn't want to be around the girl she quote-unquote lost to. And so, because the bride and groom live in the same small town as the ex and spend a lot of time with her, they thought it would be an easy way to keep the peace by just not having me come, and figured I wouldn't care to attend the wedding anyway since I barely know them. I believe the groom was genuinely clueless about the etiquette, and I believe his apology was sincere. I'm not convinced the same is true of the bride, but I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. The solution we came to is this. We'll both attend the church ceremony, him as a groomsman, me as a guest, so that he can stand up with his friend. Then we will both skip the reception to avoid any uncomfortable situation for anyone, and go have a romantic weekend to ourselves. The groom was disappointed my husband wouldn't be there for all the festivities, but was very understanding and apologetic, and is planning a trip out to see us after the honeymoon. Someone commented, "You guys handled this with grace and maturity. Very impressive. And I'm glad that this looks like it's all going to work out the best way it could have. Your instincts on the ex, I think, are spot on. I 100% believe that she was going to use this wedding as a chance to either try to confront or make a move on your husband. Taking that chance away from her is not only a win for you as a couple, but probably the best thing for the wedding as a whole. Drama like that is the last thing I would want to try and field at my reception personally. Sounds like the groom is going to have his hands full with that bride though. Assuming she did help set this up though. Poor guy." To which OP replied, "Yeah, I feel bad for the groom. He's a nice enough guy, just oblivious, and lets people walk all over him. Hopefully this opens up some good dialogue between him and the bride, so this behavior doesn't continue in their marriage." Wow, I totally forgot to update. My bad. The wedding was really uneventful and drama-free, so no crazy stories. The groom called my husband less than 2 weeks before the wedding, more or less begging us to reconsider and come to the reception. We decided that just to get it over with, so hubby agreed to go to the reception, and I stuck with my original plan to attend the ceremony only. The ceremony was nice and simple. Hubby escorted the groom's sister, not the ex. Yay. It looked like they overestimated attendance because there were a lot of empty seats. I would say a little less than 1/3 empty. After the ceremony, I headed back to the hotel and relaxed in the hot tub and caught up on some reading. Hubby went with the bridal party to do photos and then went to the reception. He said that the reception was pretty underwhelming. The food, toasts, cake, first dance, etc. were all pretty rushed, and a good chunk of people left shortly after that. Hubby also left as soon as all the traditions were out of the way, so he doesn't know if it picked up at all. He didn't say anything to the ex, aside from a polite greeting, and the ex didn't try to approach him, so no drama there. It was pretty much a typical kind of boring wedding experience, and I'm not sure why the bride and groom were so worried about it being an issue. Hey all, just wanted to share the over 1 year update to my story, since there's actually an update to share. Shortly after the wedding, my husband's relationship with the groom became stilted. The groom would take days or even weeks to respond to texts, and when he did, it was like a one-word answer type situation. Wouldn't even attempt to connect when we were in the area, etc. It was pretty crappy, but my husband took it as, oh well, I tried, he's lost mentality. Fast forward to this week, like literally 3 days ago, groom calls my husband out of the blue. He's getting a divorce. He didn't share every single detail, but apparently his soon-to-be ex-wife had been acting like a crazy person from the time they got engaged up to the wedding, and he just let it go, thinking that it was just some bridezilla stuff that would go away after the wedding. But she actually got worse after the wedding. She was super manipulative and controlling, to the point that she was dictating who he could and could not spend time with. So he filed for divorce and actually seems happy and at peace with his decision. He and my husband have been talking a lot the last couple of days, and it seems like they're going to be able to be close friends again. From what the groom, ex-groom now I guess, has told us, it seems like the wedding drama was primarily the bride. The ex-girlfriend was just egging it on, rather than the other way around, which is what I had originally thought. But regardless, I'm happy this poor guy is going out of a relationship that was toxic at best, abusive at worst, and I'm very happy that my husband has his friends back. The end. So guys, what did you think about this? Honestly, my first thought in this was that OP's friend's ex-wife was extraordinarily toxic. I cannot imagine why she wanted to dredge up so much drama. And I also can't imagine how much other drama she had dredged up. Given that she had such a lackluster wedding, I have a feeling that maybe there were more people that bailed on the wedding just because of some of the drama that was dredged up by the ex-wife. What do you guys think? I also have a feeling that OP's husband's ex had more to do with the situation than OP's friend let on. I don't know. I have a feeling that OP's friend only communicated with his wife and not with the ex. So that leads me to believe that maybe the ex had a little bit more to do with the situation than we know of. Anyways guys, what did you think about this story? If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe if you'd like to hear more stories from Reddit with updates.